I kind of assume this is one of those games where, like, everybody in chat has played it except for me. But I don't necessarily know that that's the case. I'm just assuming. I'm tired. I'm streaming anyway, but I'm tired, so... This could go one of two ways. Usually when I'm tired, it results in me, like... Usually when I'm tired, I start off the stream by saying we might finish a little early today, and then I end up going longer than I had even intended to originally. But sometimes I actually do finish early. We'll see. Yes. For now, we're here for an autopsy.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The belt is still around his neck. His body is supine and open to intrusion by autopsy.
Okay.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
I feel like we failed this already. Oh. Oh. We did try this already, and we failed it, but we got a +1 from talking to him in the dream, so we can try it again. So you can't... So... You cannot... retry a check from putting clothing on. But you can retry a check when you get, like, new information or a new modifier for the check. Do I have any... I don't think I own any clothing that affects my Inland Empire. Whatever.
I'm gone.
Just hit that. All right. I'm not really familiar, Teller. What is happening?
What do you mean?
I'm talking to you.
It's the power of your...
Okay.
imagination.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Go ahead. Ask me more questions. You fucking love questions.
Why do I love questions so much?
Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions?
Give me a comical amount of questions.
Coming right up, copperoonie Rooney. This is getting upbeat now.
Where have you gone?
Into the wild pale yonder.
I don't know what that means. Tell me what that means.
In the past. Way out in the west.
Alright. I can see you're gone, but who are you?
I'm a joke. Look at me.
I mean, sure, you are now, but what about before?
A killer. A motherfucker. And a killer.
Takes one to know one.
Thanks, Half-Light. I have another question.
Go ahead, Coppo.
Is my name Rooney?
Fuck no. You're no Rooney.
Of course not. I'm Raphael Ambrosius Cousteau.
Listen to yourself. You're not a Raphael anything. You're probably just Harry or something. That's right. Harry.
I feel like I've been getting a lot of Harry lately.
You might be onto something there.
Hey, who killed you?
Love did me in, Brother Copo. It was love all along.
Can you ask me a question?
Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Why are you doing this?
What?
Looking at my face, motionless. Looking into my eyes. Standing here. Why are you investigating my murder?
I literally don't have anything else to do. I woke up hungover in a stupor in a trashed hotel room. I walked out, someone said, "You're a cop and you're investigating a murder." And I was like, okay, I guess we're doing that.
I am all you have. Then you truly lost it all, brother. Let the world drag it all away from you. And what it left, you pissed away. And here we are.
Okay, so listen. Let's establish this. I've asked you who killed you on 2 different occasions, and once you said love, and the other time you said communism, so which is it?
Huh?
You said love killed you, but when you fell down, you said it was communism. That's not really the order of operations, but sure.
You're misquoting me, Rooney. I said communism killed me. Love did me in.
I feel like I've forgotten something terrible. I feel like if I hit 7, that is a morale hit waiting to happen, and I don't have any more heals for that. So let's enough. That's enough.
Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
Well, that's not the same line at all. What's a field autopsy?
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
It appears I have forgotten what a field autopsy is.
Fine. It's a 3-part form to be filled out on the scene by the detectives responsible. One takes notes, the other dictates. The goal is to establish cause of death.
Do we need a scalpel?
A scalpel is not always required. I hope this is one of those cases. Latex gloves are, however.
Do you have another pair?
Unfortunately, no.
I have gardening gloves. Maybe that'll work.
They are better than nothing. Tell you what, I perform the anatomical side of things while you will take notes.
Should I take the notes in my notes?
Yes, you see, the field autopsy form is the one on red copier paper.
Alright, let's do that.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger.
Wow, what
The
happens
bright
if you
red
don't find the
paper is
ledger?
covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with:
1, assistant.
That's you.
Lean in.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box says:
Coroner's case number.
KK57-0803.0815.
Write it down.
Next,
Name.
NA. Next,
Date of birth.
NA.
Age.
Roughly 50.
Roughly 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook.
It's not really on a hook anymore.
Teeming with opportunistic microorganisms, letting out a foul-smelling diamine compound. Your eyes turn watery.
Race.
Mondial. Subgroup Occidental. As per your observation.
Write it down.
The pudgy mess looks neither mondial nor occidental. It doesn't even look human. The next line says,
Sex.
Fucky fucky!
You know, they let you go through enough of the dialogue and, like, forget they are there. And then, like, it's like exactly at moments like that you're like, oh yeah, that's right. God damn it.
Male.
Pigs can have sex.
Let's not get it twisted.
nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
I don't know, given some of the art in this game, the hanged man's face is actually more distinguishable than some. The biggest thing that I'm aware of with the development of this game is how the whole publishing situation is fucked up now, and the people who actually made it no longer get to profit off of it. So this, like, scathing anti-capitalist commentary falls victim to capitalism. Date of death.
We're still going with March 4th, 51.
4351.
What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
That's really good. That's really good. That's really good writing to apply the case number as like the name of the person.
None. At least not after the initial examination.
Treatment is like tampering with the body, I believe, right? Let's ask him for sure.
Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
I'm not sure about that.
A silent nod. The lieutenant places his gloved hand on the corpse's chest, as if in preparation. Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then,
We should start the post-mortem.
All right, turn the page.
the corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
External examination summary.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodin, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Yep, there it is.
Babrodin, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The boots are ceramic. Vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
Right, that... But what if we... It's fine.
Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a triggered mini.
Okay.
The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing.
The spine is bent more than the lieutenant compensated for. This buster's actual height is about 1.85. And no, you could not take him straight on.
Damn. Man was a beast. Also, physical instrument helping with the autopsy? Let's go? Alright, 1.85.
Of course, I undercompensated. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
I don't know why we'd touch the hair. But sure.
His hair feels wet, soaked with rain, cold to touch. Not that different from a living person after a swim.
Gently? If we stroke it normally, I'm afraid it will start coming out. Like, the skin will just start coming off because of the decay. At the same time, I feel like there might be something to be found on his head. Like a bump or something.
The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to your hand, like thread off a rag doll's head.
That's what I was afraid of.
There's brilliantine in there. He's combed his hair back with oil.
Keep going. This might go to a bad place.
More hair sticks to your hand. Hair off the rain-soaked head of a dead man. There are bumps and dips on the skull below. An alien landscape. For a fraction of a second you feel something. An irregularity. But then it's gone. Too minute to register in your mind.
Was that a bump?
What was what? Brilliantine. There's brilliantine in his hair. What was what? Brilliantine. There's brilliantine in his hair.
Alright. We'll write it down then.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Oh god, and I see the ellipsis and I know exactly where we're going from here. Let's stretch out. Take a moment. I suspect that someone in the vicinity is going to have something to say about the velocity at which the stones were thrown.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, There are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation.
Write down meant for high velocity.
Ligature mark.
Material cannot be cut.
The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
Chain cutters?
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Pet the chain cutters.
The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
Good thing we got these chain cutters!
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
So, hopefully, like, interfacing will help with this.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
Oh yeah, we got this! Wow, physical instrument, huh? A physical instrument seems more like a brute strength stat. I would have expected, because it needs to be, like, precise, I would have expected it to be more of a, I would have expected something more like, interfacing or even hand-eye coordination. But this is good, too. I feel like at 97, we're basically hitting it unless it's Snake Eyes. So there's really no reason to look for a good spot. Just do it.
After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt.
I was like legit afraid we were
Squeeze
gonna...
the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow.
I had this, like, seizing fear that we were gonna Snake Eyes it.
Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters.
Can't imagine who did that.
Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia.
Here we go.
No, let's get out and see.
I fucking knew it!
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
Move on. No, you know what? I'm not gonna let these kids bully me out of doing my job.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch. You should touch it.
Should I? Is that a thing that I should do? Electrochemistry has me in this spot where, like, it's got me in a spot where it's like the psychological thing where, like, when someone asks you for a big favor and you say no, then you're more likely to say yes to something that's, like, more reasonable, like a smaller thing. It's like a psychological trick. Someone comes up to you on the street and is like, "Hey, can I borrow $100?" And you're like, "No," and it's like, "All right, yeah, that's fine. Can you just watch my bag for a few minutes?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, sure, all right." So electrochemistry has me in that spot where, like, every other thing it's saying is like, "Woohoo, do all the drugs, let's go." And then when it tells me to do something that isn't that, I'm like, "Well, maybe." I don't want to say no to you all the time. I'm gonna touch it.
Doesn't feel like anything. Just cold flesh under your finger. Unremarkable and unalive.
Okay.
My pig's so fucking ill right now.
Oh, your pig's pretty sick, I gotta say.
All right, moving on.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are all combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Okay.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
This is the body of a mercenary. We knew this.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
I will help. Sometimes I have some insight.
The hand is surprisingly heavy to lift, filled with decay liquids. Feels as though it could explode if squeezed harder. You're suddenly repulsed, so much so you feel compelled to drop it.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling.
Were we expecting any?
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment.
Fair enough.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Okay. So it probably doesn't matter that much. It's tempting to go in order, but I feel like we need to go, like, to me, description of injuries are going to be primarily external. So we should do that before cutting him open. Also, once we cut him open, it's going to make everything else more miserable. So even though they're listed in, like, 1, 2, 3 order, it feels like I should not necessarily go in that order. So I'm not going to.
I'm afraid we can't continue before we've gone through both the external and internal examination first, thoroughly.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Because some of the injuries could be internal, but... I guess it's in order for a reason. Here goes.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Wait, Kim, if you knew what was up next already, why even bother asking me? He's just trying to keep me involved. He's helping.
You don't even have a joke.
Damn. That's hard nothing. N.A.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth, not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Oh, it's rough.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
But it's... I already touched his penis. Why are we saying this, like, at his neck? Hey, it's fine.
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system.
Oh, boy. I feel bad that Kim has to do this.
He's really doing it. The dead man's teeth cut into his gloved hands.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
I'm not looking inside his mouth. That seems like a one-way ticket to throwing up again.
Hepatobiliary. NA.
Why?
Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
I don't think so.
Neither am I.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Same for toxicology and serology. NA.
I mean, that kind of makes sense. Like, I assume we don't have the I assume we don't have the gear on hand to actually test it. And whatever results we did get would be over a week old at this point and basically useless.
Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there?
The completion in me wonders if there's something we could still do.
Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if it was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request.
Brimming with cocaine.
Thanks, electrochemistry. NA. Toxicology requested.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
There's poop.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila.
Write it down. Keep the voila.
What's next on the list?
Description of injuries.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Thanks for action speed. 1. Bite marks.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer?
Non-fatal post-mortem. Fairly obviously.
Agreed. Next injury?
Contusions.
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
My opinion is that the birds that picked at his corpse are the cause of death. Meanwhile, Prometheus is like, fuck, I wish.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Kim, stay winning.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Non-fatal post-mortem.
Right. Next.
What's the 4th injury field for?
Nothing. Just in case.
I'm gonna turn the page back real quick.
The corpse lay slouched to the side, oblivious to its surroundings. The field autopsy form describes.
All
right.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
We're being thorough. Ligature mark.
The corpse lay slouched to the side, oblivious to its surroundings. The field autopsy form describes his state in 3 parts.
I got messed up because it said 3, but it was option 1.
All right.
Be thorough.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush.
Hemorrhaging on the skin above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck. Which suggests that he may have been unconscious or potentially already dead at the time of the hanging. Also no sign of struggle. Hemorrhaging on the neck above and below the ligature mark suggests that, to me, you know, not being trained in this, I feel like that means he would have been alive at the time of the hanging. But the fact that he wasn't clawing means essentially that he wasn't struggling at all. There's no signs of struggles at all. His body's in rough shape, but we essentially have established that the majority of his injuries are post-mortem. No sign of a struggle, no sign of pre-mortem injuries. Are we sure this isn't a suicide?
What was that about no clawing around the neck? You'd be clawing for your life.
Non-fatal post-mortem. Let's talk about it, Kim.
A column of cold air encircles you, rising slowly upward in the shape of a courtyard, bordered by cracked plaster, windows, seagulls perched on air conditioning units. A small green enclosure in the middle of a corral of tenements. Cape-side apartments, whirling in rags, and the fortress wall of Terminal B. Above it, a thin blanket of coastal stratus clouds. Higher yet, coalition airships guard over the 21 cordons of the zone of control. The air is crisscrossed with radio transmissions. The hair on your neck rises.
Close them eyes. Use that detective vision.
Why do you say that?
I don't think this was the injury that killed him.
Okay. Why don't you think it was fatal?
Psychic arts! Yeah, 2, all of that stuff. Why didn't he claw out his neck? Why is there no sign of a struggle? Why didn't they restrain him?
Honestly, I'm not sure there weren't marks on his wrists. That part got blurry for me. The stench. But you are right. There should be signs of struggle. Let's leave the cause of death empty for the time being.
That toxicology report seems very important now.
Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over.
How'd it go?
It was an irregular field autopsy. We did not establish cause of death, which is supposed to be the goal of an autopsy. But, personally, I do not see this as a parameter for success. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. I will not hold my breath. Then, given the state of decay here, I consider establishing the victim's ethnicity a minor success.
What else?
We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
Oh yeah, well done, Master.
Yeah,
Detective.
yeah.
Maybe a drink is in order?
Wait a second. What now? Let's try to...
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg
Oh, I'm so sorry.
for processing.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse.
What else we got? Let's see if we can hit this 72.
You run your hands over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs. Maybe you should be more thorough.
Ow!
His fingernails have turned dark. They're chipped and quite long. There is dirt under them. That's all.
Do you think we missed something?
There's something we're not seeing. The check wouldn't be there if there was.
Okay, well, we are in livor mortis here. He is disintegrating. We need to refrigerate the body if we want to conduct another examination, and we need to do it fast.
We are not putting him in the bear fridge!
If you want for this task to slowly become impossible, then yes. Otherwise, no. He's been hanging out far too long already. We need to ice him.
Alright, where?
Hey, wasn't there a giant ice bear sarcophagus below the
Sarcophagus?!
Why, yes, there was. It was massive. Red eyes glowing in the dark.
There was.
Now, detective, I've rarely been disappointed by the size of a giant ice bear fridge. But I think we should still take a look at it first. Make sure it's big enough before we carry him over. Let's move. With every hour, whatever we are looking for in the deceased will become harder to find.
But... was it perception? I have a point to spend. Well, first things first.
man is The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Let's see if we can't hit that again. Perception's not a bad thing to level up anyway. Oh, I probably have to close this and...
The man is The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. Your arms reach out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, slippery flesh, first with your fingertips, then under the palm of your hand.
What is this?
His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a spider, your hand crawls over his features. Everything is silent.
Oh God, his mouth. The one thing that I didn't look into earlier.
The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop.
Look?
A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your naked hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from the throat, and there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened.
Fuck yeah.
Keep going.
Kuno nods, too. He takes a step closer. A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound.
I don't like that option, but we'll go with it.
Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
I'm uncomfortable with all of this.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
Feel around?
The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. The funk soul brother at the back of his head has gone dark forever. Your fingers slide into the remains of his limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres.
There's a cavity? There's a cavity.
The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
Fucking cavity, see?
Even these little shits are like, yo, this shit's fucking metal.
Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. All the muscles in your body harden. Time to enter him.
Okay. Listen. The concept of this playthrough is that we are doing a heckin' punch girl. You can't give me a prompt that says punch and expect me to not take it.
The carpet gives in with a crack,
Oh!
like some fruit. Just like that, your hand is in his head. Strange fluid streams down your wrist, and then you feel it with the tip of your finger.
Oh, I didn't like that! God, that's really good sound design, but Jesus. Oh.
Sharp, serrated material. The edges cut right into your skin.
Yeah, we're gonna want to wash and disinfect that, like, right the fuck now.
The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush.
Solid object right under the skin. Skull.
Can you get to it?
Inspect?
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside. The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny fracture into the cranium. This is the irregularity you felt before, the one that was too tiny to register consciously.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here.
Forget about the fucking exit wound, Beano. The pig is wearing him like a fuck puppet.
I think we can get it. Yeah, we can get it. We punched a hole. We can get it.
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just...
Don't say shit.
The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth, covered in blood up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
Fucking beautiful.
A bullet.